3, 2, 1.
Woohoo!
What's good, Enigmites? Welcome to EnigmaLive Thursday night edition. I'm actually trying to get Instagram to fire up and go live, but it is refusing to connect it real quick. So I'm going to do something real quick while I try one more time to set this up. We will let them know what it is in a second here. I'll do a few more clicks and then we'll get into this tonight. But while we wait and I set this up real quick, I just want to remind everybody that I have a non-profit organization called Project First Step, projectfirststep.com. If you have anybody who is in need of any type of mental health assistance whatsoever, please feel free to go over there to projectfirststep.com. Contact us on that end, and we will be more than happy to help you out. As always, it is not connected to this part of what I do. So there's no really way for me to get in touch with you unless you go through, or respond to you unless you go through projectfirststep.com. I just gave this one more click to try to get it to go, and if it doesn't go down, then I guess then my Instagram live just not going to go down. But anyways, guys, tonight we got a pretty interesting topic here going on. We're going to be talking about the 1934 Los Angeles lizard catacomb discovery that went down in 1934. And so as always, I'm going to bring you guys the who, the what, the when, the wheres, the whats, and then we'll go from there. And so evidently, much apologies over there for the people on Instagram. This just seems that it does not seem to want to connect and work. So we're just going to have to go with YouTube. So sorry in advance, guys. We'll get it going from there, okay? So let's get into this. Right. As always, the who, the where, the when, and the why, and any type of, I don't know, my own personal theories on what went down and how it went. So, the when, 1934. The where, Los Angeles, California. Been in the news a lot pretty lately, and so has the, the fiduciary that's been involved with the tragedies that are going on out there. Fun fact, when people try to tell me that TikTok is the freest app on the planet, it is a complete, absolute, utter lie. I got my very first video ever deleted over there, and they gave me a warning and a strike, and really all I did was post a news article of a blue van and a blue recycle bin that didn't get burned up, and they said that I was spreading misinformation, but yet literally people are on there talking about far worse stuff. But anyways, I absolutely hate TikTok. So anyways, know that, I want that on the record. So now here's the who. The guy's name is G. Warren Shufelt, and he was an engineer, a mining expert, and an inventor. He claimed to have developed a Radio X device, which he used to scan underground structures and detect what he said was basically underground facilities. Think of the very first rendition of LiDAR. I don't know if you're familiar with LiDAR, but it's a radar that scans, deep into the earth. This guy says that he invented it a long time ago. Now, he used to use this to look for mining shafts and was looking for, believe it or not, was looking for gold. And what he stumbled upon was, what he claimed to have stumbled upon was these massive catacombs, right? And he actually went, got permits, got some funding, and actually went out there and started sinking shafts into the ground to try to, find these underground cities. And he did. But before I get you into that, I'm going to tell you, because it's relevant to the story, why he picked this certain area and why he did this. He actually had a friend. And his friend's name was, I'm going to get this right, I don't want to make people mad, Chief Greenleaf. Now, he was a Hopi chief, right? And Shufelt claimed that over years of friendship, Chief Greenleaf shared ancient legends about the Hopi origin story about a race of highly intelligent reptilians, beings who lived in vast underground cities beneath LA, the Grand Canyon, and part of the Southwest. Now, and he told him that according to the legends passed down from him and his people and his families, that this city had massive amounts of gold, artifacts, and things like that, and that these lizard people had to hide into the ground because of a giant meteor storm that happened, and it burned everything to the ground, so they had to hide. But also, before you dismiss that outright, the Hopi origin story, according to the Hopi tradition, the origin story is that they came from the inner earth, and they were brought out of the inner earth by benevolent beings that they called the ant people, also the Anu Sinmal. And here's where a little bit of cryptid, UFO, fiduciary back and forth comes into place. They called them the ant people not because they looked like ants. It's because they lived like ants. Also, Jay and I did a podcast about something that went down around 1915 in the Grand Canyon. If you want to see it, jump into the Enigma Cast archives, go in there and find it. Where oddly enough, another gold mine prospector said that he discovered these caverns and catacombs filled with gold and hieroglyphic type writing in there. Now, a lot of people say, oh, they found hieroglyphs. That's not what he said. He said hieroglyphic type writing, right? The Smithsonian got involved, came out there, took it over, barred it up with cast iron bars. And if you don't know anything about why they use iron bars and not a heavier metal, is because iron bars are supposedly no bueno for demons, right? And you cannot get to this area in the Grand Canyon. I've had subscribers reach out to us and send us aerial footage of that they found the location, but they can only fly a drone there. If you get close enough to it, Black Hawk helicopters will show up and you will get ran off. This isn't even like, again, this isn't a conspiracy. This is all fact. You can go on YouTube and people have went in there and got close, and then all of a sudden these park ranger looking dudes show up and they tell them to leave, right? You can't get in this area. And it wasn't just this one area in the Grand Canyon where they put these bars up. Several caves entrances in that area have been put down. The Smithsonian was involved, and if you follow this channel or watch any of our videos here, you know right away that the Smithsonian are the Men in Black. They are 100% the Men in Black. They round up giant bones, they round up artifacts, they round up anything that challenges the lies that you've been told over the last 100 years to question you. Also, I put a post up on my Instagram channel as well, and it's pretty much shows you that the Grand Canyon actually looks like a stripped copper mine. That's what it is. Now, they'll try to tell you that a giant glacier or a river cut that out, but under any type of normal scrutiny, you can see that as the Grand Canyon goes in, it levels, it goes in, right? So it definitely wasn't a river. There's not very smooth edges down there that carved it out, or it wasn't an iceberg that carved it out either. Now, I don't subscribe to the fact that the United States of America is Egypt. Don't subscribe to the fact that we are somehow Israel or whatever. I don't subscribe to that. However, there is a very odd connection between the Choctaws and the Hebrew language and the ancient Hebrew traditions. We have also talked about that on several podcasts as well. Go look that up. But anyways, so that's the Hopi origin story. And the Hopi origin story said they came out of the inner earth, and that, you know, these were benevolent, highly intelligent, shape-shifting reptiles. And you can also go, and every single language on the earth, ancient language, has a word for shape-shifting reptiles in it. It's all of them, from the Naga to Japan to Peru. In Peru, there's even a statue of a god they call Morgoth. It's a giant lizard-looking god down there in Peru. It's not a lizard. It looks like a velociraptor on like human body. That's what it looked like to me. But there's a post. You can go check that out as well. Now, the Hopi also believe that the world has gone through several cycles, right? And that we've been destroyed by, each time we get destroyed, it's by something different. Fire, ice, flood, earthquakes. Every time they turn around, something different happens. And the interesting thing about the Hopi origin story is that also lines up really good with the Mayan calendar cycle, where they talk about how the different ages go around. And right now we're in our 7th age according to the Mayan and the Native American legends, right? So that's where Chief Greenleaf told Warren Shufelt where it was at, where to look. And he went and looked, and he had, like I said, he had a primitive version of LiDAR, and he was in there and he found it, right? And so he started syncing. Well, first thing he did is he went and got permits, right? He went and got some permits. He went and told some people. This wasn't kept a secret. I just posted an article. I have the actual news article on my Instagram and on my TikTok as well. On the YouTube community page, he actually has the article where it says he was going to go look for it. A lot of people got excited. A lot of people went in there, when they were excited for it. Again, but we talk about this on the channel as well. Back in the day, everybody was a lot more open to these type of ideas. It wasn't until now, like the suppression of information is kind of slightly been there, but it didn't go on steroids until around 4 years ago. Now, the misinformation campaign, you can figure out why that happened, but on the misinformation campaign has always been there. It started ramping up really at the end of World War II, right? But they were a lot more open on this. Every time we cover a story from the 30s or the 40s or the 20s, it makes all the newspapers, and they usually close schools. They put in curfews. I mean, it's fascinating how it is. And America, I would say not even America, but the planet has somehow turned into what I call a nanny planet, where they feel that, oh, these people can't handle this, so let's give them a lie, right? And that's what they do. Again, a very strange incident happened about 30 minutes east from me last night, where a Black Hawk helicopter somehow ended up on the landing path of a airplane at Reagan International Airport, and it perfectly collided with it, and a lot of people lost their lives. And today, the lie that just came out an hour ago was that they were doing night flight requalification drills, where they're basically, you fly around a Black Hawk with your night vision goggles on. And I call that a lie, because nowhere, I've been in the military. Jay was in the military. We know people that were in the military. You're never in your life going to do a live fire drill or an exercise drill anywhere near an airport. You can't even fly over certain parts of Washington, D.C. You'll get shot down by the anti-aircraft missiles that are on top of the White House. There's no fly zones all over the place over there. So you mean to tell me, and they said it was from Fort A.P. Hill, which is in Virginia or someplace like that, or southern Maryland. You mean to tell me that they just wandered that far off course, and they happen to be, with all their lights off, be over a airport where a plane's about to land? They're in the path of the plane, and it just gets, they don't try to go up or down, left or right, and it smacks right into it. That's a lie. That's a lie, right? And that's what I'm talking about with this. They can't handle the truth. Who are you to tell me that we can't handle the truth or not handle the truth, right? I'm so sick of this cloak and dagger BS. I don't buy into that whole Q crap, that people at the Q, and every time they're like, oh, look, there's a license plate that says 195611. Oh, that means that Trump took a doo-doo today. That's stupid. It's just, they don't even try that hard. They just lie. And that's what they did here, right? He sunk the shafts. He got the permits, got a little bit of money together, went out there. Sorry about that rant, by the way. That's just, hey, but if you're on this channel, you know we do that about every 8 minutes. We'll go in a different direction. So he got the permits, got the money, went out, found the catacombs. Now this is where the lie can't be denied. He found something. He found these underground structures, these underground caverns, for lack of a better word. and they started sinking shafts in there to get air in there, and they were going to go down there, right? Now, right in the middle of this, shocker, typical New World Order crap, they just randomly get shut down. No rhyme, no reason. People go there in the afternoon, the morning, they work. Next day, no one shows back up to the job site. No one is there. It got freaking totally ghost towned, right? And this area that he was in was near this place called Fort Moore Hill, right? And it was kind of an old Civil War type fort or something like that, man. But it wasn't something that, you know, would warrant like, oh, hey, that's a historic site, or oh, hey, you know, that's, you know, people in California try to save minnows, which I don't understand. We used to hook them and catch bigger fish where I grew up, but okay, they want to save the little fish out there and let cities burn down. You be you, man. I'm on fire tonight, man. I'm a little feisty. I'm not gonna lie, man. And so they shut everything down. And here's where it even gets even more strange. All the maps, all the records that they had about filing for permits, filing for this, filing for that, just vanished, right? Again, things weren't on computer back there. Everything was typewriter or handwritten, so that's not even hard to do. They just went in there, snatched everything down. But they didn't get all of them, right? They got most of the official documentation, right? And one of the things that they got, man, that was important is that he actually mapped out the tunnels. So he had mapped it out with the LiDAR tunnels, right? So he knew the depths. He actually knew the layout and the locations, and it was massive, right? Now remember, they had these catacombs going all the way into LA. Just vanished, right? And then again, here's the third layer of the padookery, because that's how we get down around here. The tunnels somehow mysteriously just flooded with water. They just filled with water, and there was just no way for them to go down there anymore. No one else to go in there and do any type of excavation, right? But everything done in the dark eventually comes to light. So right after this, not necessarily right after it, but later down the road, this area all of a sudden, which was just, you know, Fort Moore Hill, which nobody was doing anything, they started massively developing the area, massively moving in, and just started building houses and just condos and stuff like that, right? To the point where Fort Moore Hill dig site doesn't even exist anymore. It's a subdivision, right? It's all it is. It's just one of massive subdivisions they have out there. But here's another fun fact, right? In 1994 or 97, a little girl was having playtimes with an imaginary friend. And her mother would hear her in her bedroom having playtimes with an imaginary friend. This girl was 4 or 5 years old. This is actually a fairly popular story that came out. You can find it on, you know, a lot of unsolved mysteries or whatever. Her mother overheard her having conversations that were very detailed, but it was very strange. Her mother was hearing whispering coming back. The little girl wasn't in there just talking to herself. Something was back and forth having a conversation with her. Her mother went in there, questioned the little girl what was going on, and she said, my friend and I, she shows up and we play. She says, well, where did she come from? She says, well, she comes out of my closet. My mother goes, what? She comes out of your closet? She's like, yeah. And her mother's like, oh, a little freaked out. So her mother said something along the lines, okay, you know, next time this happens, I'd like to meet her. And she did. Later on that day or the next day, a childlike reptilian creature came out of that closet. The little girl said, my mother wants to meet you. She said, okay. Her mother came in there and she freaked out. She screamed, she yelled, the girl yelled, the little reptilian creature freaked out, dove back into the closet. 2 days later, the Air Force shows up at her house. 2 days later, Air Force, in Air Force uniform, show up at her house, knock on the door. ask her to come in, have a conversation with her, and tell her not to ever speak about this. Now, it went on to one of these, I forget one of the shows. It's one of the shows that reminds me of like Hauntings in the Woods, or These Woods Are Haunted. It went on to something like that, right? It eventually came out later down the road, right over the area where Fort Moore Hill was, where my boy Warren here said he found these lizard catacombs. Right. Now, again, wouldn't be a 1934 story or 1940s or 1950 stories unless what happened? Unless Warren just ends up disappearing, presumed dead, never to be heard from again. And that's exactly what happened. Warren Shufelt just mysteriously vanished off the face of the earth, to the point where there is no death record of him at all. And people have gone to great lengths recently, 5 years ago-ish, to try to find this guy. Now, the rumor was around 1934 or 37 is that he was so ashamed of himself or whatever, stupid, that he went into obscurity after this, and he just left and was never heard from again. The other theory was that he died under unknown circumstances somewhere in the desert, trying to get, look for another way into these catacombs. The third theory is he actually found his way into them catacombs and drowned. The fourth one is that his research was confiscated, and this is the one I personally believe, and that he was silenced. If you know how they operate back in the day, or even today, somebody sent me a Men in Black video that's pretty messed up. I don't know if I'm going to post it or not. About a girl in Alaska that comes in, and this MIB looking creature tells her to get up and leave, and she pulls a gun. She puts it down, and she just walks out, never to be seen from again. So, but anyways, that's what happened. And his suspiciousness around his disappearance, the bombastic nature of these claims, the history of the people that we know, that we deal with, and how they handle these type of things, leads me to believe that it didn't end well for Warren. So now, I get asked this a lot of time because people are lazy and they don't want to get off the first page of YouTube, and they just like to argue and not go look for themselves. If this was real, there would be more evidence of it. So I went out because I had some time on my hands today, and I'm going to bring you 6 other examples of this actually happening in other places, right? Now, the first one I already went down in the Grand Canyon it was actually 1909. The guy's name, it was in the Arizona Gazette. This guy's name was G.E. Kincaid. I just told you that story a little bit. He found the Reptilian Hopi legend entrance, right? That's number 2. That's number 2, counting the one in LA. Number 3, the hypogem of Mal Safani, I can't pronounce that, sorry, in Malta. It was over 5,000 years old. They found what? Complex tunnels that look like ant hives down there. They went down there to look at it, and this was a British archaeologist went down there. Again, strange enough, around the 1930s, they went down there. In fact, we did an episode on this as well. 30 school children went down there and never came back. This is a true story. They went into the tunnels and they never came back. They closed those tunnels off. Before that, there was a reporting that a lady went down there on some type of expedition with like a tourist thing or whatever, got off the beaten path, and then she says she saw giants in these tunnels as well, right? As well as these reptilian remains down there. Go hit the Enigma Cast archive, go in there. I think that was a 3-parter. Me, Jay, and Steve did that one together about the giants of Malta. Then you have another one here. You have the underground reptilian kingdom of Agartha, right? That one came out. That's located in India and in Tibet. They found what? Caves that connected to caves that connected to caves with air shaft, water, and look like what? An ant farm. That's number 3 or number 4. The next one, Death Valley underground reptilian tunnels that were found in 1920s by a man named J.C. Brown. Now, J.C. Brown said that he went down there and found, wait for it, what? Gold artifacts, statues of reptilian-like beings, right? And evidence of a lost civilization. 1920s. This is all, and it's not even hidden, right? The next one, the Amazon Serpent Caves in South America. What they find? They didn't even have to find. This one was the easiest one to find because the indigenous Amazonian people led them to the caves, showed them the artifacts, told them where they were, told them who they are, told them what they did, told them they can shape shift, told them that they eat people, right? It's again, right? And what they did is they went down there and they said that not only did they find these tunnels, right? But they estimated that these tunnels ran from Brazil, Ecuador to Peru, which is basically the whole entire width of South America. These tunnels went, right? Now, the last one I found, because I just stopped looking because it was in the farther enough away from the other ones, was the Cappadocia underground city in Turkey. And it's also known as Dirin Kufu. Right? And so there's another underground massive city in Turkey that was built thousands of years ago that they estimate can hold 20,000 people. It has water, fresh water, has air shafts, has again, looks like a daggone ant farm. And they went inside of some of these rooms, and these rooms vibrate at different frequencies. And some of these rooms will heal you. Some of these rooms will, help you supposedly meditate. Now, I gave you North America, Central America, South America, East Asia, Turkey, and then I just stopped looking. India, Peru, they called on the Naga in India, the Himalayas as well. So there is, at this point, I'm going to be very careful what I say here because I don't want to mislead. At this point, there's no denying that there was once upon a time on this planet an ancient species of reptilian-like beings. There's too many artifacts about it, too many locations. Now, take that step forward right now. Are these creatures active right now? Or what are these creatures? And I've said this before, and I get a lot of heat. I am a Christian. I believe in Jesus. I do. But I also read a lot of stuff. I've also read the book of Enoch, and I've also read the Sumerian tablets. And I also know that the Zulu origin story is the same as the Hopi Indian story. And the Zulu says they feed on our negative energy and they're shape-shifting reptiles. Eve, the mother of us all, was tempted in the garden by a talking snake, a reptilian. And then for his punishment, he was doomed to crawl on his belly for his life. So I'm pretty sure that snakes already crawled on their belly, unless this one was actually standing on 2 feet first, right? And again, that is in the Bible. And again, people was like, oh no, that you're this, that, and the other. I say what I say and I stand by what I stand by. I mean it. I'm not trying to be fantastical. If anything, I'm dumbing things down. Princess Diana said the Windsors were snakes, were lizards or reptiles. Go in there and look at it as well. There have been people on my Instagram who've told me, and I'm talking to some of them, trying to get them to come on my show, that they've met lizard people in the United States of America. Adele has been caught shape-shifting twice. I've made fun of her several times. You can go on my channel and look that up. And her last communication was that you won't be seeing me for a long, long time. I'm going away. And no one's seen her since. It's 2025. I literally got told today that we are days away from being contacted by the Galactic Federation, that they're cloaked in the Gulf of Mexico. The orbs that they threw around the United States of America was to just ease us into it. The drones were responses to them. And again, if you read any type of ancient literature, it talks about killing dragons. Satan is referred to in the Bible as the dragon, the old serpent as well. Now, just hear me out on this, Enigmites. My buddy Jay has a theory that, and Steve and I talk about it as well, that what if we are a science experiment that just got out of control? What if this wasn't our original planet? In Genesis, it says, let us take man, not let us make man. There was something here before us. According to the Hopi and the Sumerian tablets, this version of us is the 7th version of humanity where they perfected us along the way. But what if these reptiles were here already? What if these dinosaurs that we wiped out? You ever wondered why dinosaurs all dial in like a pot, like a big pile? They found like all these dinosaur bones like stacked up on each other, like almost like something rounded them together and just wiped them out. What if we weren't the original OGs? What if they were here first? And God showed up, wasn't happy with what was going on, put us here and gave us the earth and drove them underground. It's just a theory, but at this point, it doesn't make you less of a Christian to question those things. And one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible is iron sharpens iron. I have smart people that I talk to, and I think me talking to them and going back and forth makes me smarter. Hence the term iron sharpens iron, right? And I think it's dismissive to say that when people come forward saying, hey, look, this is this is that, this is this, that you just like, no, absolutely no, can't possibly, no way, it's not it. Out of all the stuff I post on my Instagram and my other channels, nothing gets more fire and piss thrown at me when I talk about lizard people and how I make a lot of Hindu people upset for some reason when I tell them that their gods were the Nephilim and that they're the 30 million gods they pray to or whatever it is were just the Anunnaki or the Watchers. We talk about this all the time. You can only name probably 5 Watchers. 200 of them came down, but you only know names of 5 of them. You might know 7 if you actually read the book of Enoch. But you only know the main characters, Azazel, Samjaja. You only know those guys, right? And again, another good theory is that the pantheon of the Greeks were actually just Nephilim or Watchers as well. Either way, can't be dismissive. And you can't say, if I believe in Bigfoot when we find Bigfoot artifacts, and when we find reptilian artifacts, you say, oh, they weren't real. You can't have it both ways, nerds, all right? You're either an NPC or you're on my team. And all of you better get on my team. So anyways, 30 minutes are up. That's how we do it around here. I apologize to anybody that normally watches me on Instagram. I don't know what happened. I'll have to figure it out or whatever. Something on my settings probably changed or I need to update a version on it. But do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. Give it a thumbs up. I don't really push that enough, but hey, it's all good. If you got any reptilian stories or anything like that, please leave them in the comments. We'll eventually get around to saying or answering your questions. And nerds, I hurt you. I'll hurt you. I hurt you, nerds. I'll hurt you, nerds, very much. We got some more content coming down the road, some more formats that we're about to try. We're about to add some new things here to it. We're doing things a little bit different in 2025. I have heard about you. Yes, you guys have asked for a official Enigma shirt. I actually have made it. It's on the Discord. I just haven't sent it over to do it. I promise you I've made it. And you guys keep DMing me. Even me, I'm not on Instagram. Instagram people, when you show up, I've made it. And you can go in there and actually go in there. You can just join the Discord and look at it if you want. It's in one of the chats. I put a little quick ask about it. It's all good. So that'll be out in like 2 weeks. All right, nerds. Have a good Saturday. I'm off to the next thing. And you know how I do. That's all you get for $1. We're out.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.